Guys, Mini Masters Garage project update. We made a little heartbeat for you after we went to the drag strip this weekend, and we learned a whole bunch of stuff from our trip to the drag strip last weekend. So, some of the things that have changed since you have seen us last. What I ended up doing was I ended up cutting out all these vents, and that lets a lot of the heat when the bike's idling, sitting, and it released a lot of that. The other thing that was a really big change that we did was I took the battery out of the back here, and I actually stuffed it in the little frame section here. And this is a Grom battery. I made a little battery box. I welded it in, and I ran the wires. And so what that effectively did was change our weight distribution, because what we were originally running with on this my particular bike, I don't know what yours is going to be, but it was 60% to the rear and 40% to the front, which is great for a dirt bike weight distribution wise because it gives you a lot of drive out of the turn. But when you make something that's kind of a little bit more street or track oriented, that gives you a really vague feeling in the front end. So by changing all that around, and I removed anything that was under here, in here, that we could get rid of. All gone, weight-wise. So now the KP it's not perfectly ideal for a track bike, but what we have is 50% on the front and 50% on the rear. We'd actually like kind of more like 53% on the front, right? So we're kind of in the ballpark. It feels a lot better than it did before, but we sacrificed some cold crank amps with that really small battery, and it's kind of in a position that gets a little bit warm, so the longevity of it we kind of sacrificed for that feeling. The other thing we found out was after riding the KP and doing a couple test runs and a couple test hits and doing the drag strip, that I got it to 92 miles an hour, and something became really discomforting is that the back shock, the China shock there, didn't have enough rebound, so when it would compress, it would start to actually just kind of pogo, and that was really, really sketchy. So the solution to that was I did a bunch of other research and found that the DNM shock from T-Bolt for the CRF or XR100 works great there. One thing I did have to do, though, to make it work great was I had to take the swing arm off, and I used my torch and a air hammer with a ball peen, and then a flat hammer side, and so I kind of forged a U-shape into the swing arm. To do this, though, guys, I did make a jig to hold everything square so that when I bent this metal here, heated and bent this metal, I didn't twist or warp this swing arm at all, because that's a real possibility once you heat things up and you start hammering on them. But I let it there, it set, it cooled, and then we actually took it back to the drag strip and got a lot better, a lot faster. It ran a lot smoother, and not only this time did we take it to the drag strip, but the first time we trailered it there, ran it 5 times, and had a really good time with our friends. The second time, we actually rode it there. So it's almost an hour ride each direction. Rode it there, left the spark plug in, didn't change anything, ran it. We ran 3 or 4 times, and then it rained out on us. Then rode it home in the rain. So it was a really fun adventure. And I will have some footage of that. Unfortunately, this China plastic is really slippery, apparently, and every GoPro that I've tried to stick on there has fallen off. So I do have some videos. They're kind of rattly, unfortunately, because the GoPros were becoming dislodged. It actually did fall off. My buddy found it for me. Thanks, Maddie. But at this point, we will have some footage soon for you to show the KP. And I will actually have some time slips. We'll make a whole little video about the drag strip adventure. Right now, this thing is running very, very well. We got to 67.98 miles an hour in the quarter mile. It was 18.14 in the quarter, which is actually pretty quick. It was like 11 some seconds in the eighth, which is not shabby. And we got top speed on the highway the other day of 92 miles an hour on the GPS, which is where I shut it off. I kind of got scared because we still had China shock on at that point. With the new shock, maybe we can get a couple more miles an hour without the bike getting too sketchy on us. But I'll let you guys know. Keep you updated, and if you have any questions or any ideas, let me know. Thanks, guys.